When we talk about deep cleansing, the first thing we need to understand is what's actually happening underneath the surface of the skin. Most people see a blackhead or a breakout and assume it just appeared overnight, but pores don't get clogged out of nowhere. It starts with something incredibly normal. Your skin constantly shedding dead cells. Ideally, those cells fall away on their own, but when your skin produces a little more oil than usual, or when those cells don't shed efficiently, they start sticking together. They settle into your pores like tiny plugs. Add a warm environment, a bit of sweat, maybe some makeup residue or sunscreen that wasn't fully removed, and you've got the perfect recipe for congestion. That's the foundation of acne and blackheads. It's the skin doing what it always does, just in a way that gets a little stuck. What surprises people is that blackheads aren't caused by dirt. They're simply pores that oxidize when exposed to air. The moment that mixture of dead skin and oil reaches the surface, oxygen darkens it. So when someone scrubs their face until it's red, thinking they're removing dirt, they're actually doing more harm than good. The skin barrier becomes irritated, the pores become inflamed, and the cycle of breakouts becomes even more stubborn. That's why understanding what causes the clog in the first place is so important, because once you know what's behind the problem, you can stop chasing myths and start working with your skin instead of against it. Another key part of this conversation is oil production. Your skin needs oil. It's part of how the barrier stays healthy, soft, and protected. But when hormones fluctuate, when stress hits, or when you use products that strip your skin and force it to overcompensate, the sebaceous glands kick into high gear. That extra oil mixes with those dead skin cells and thickens the debris inside the pores. Suddenly, what could have been a routine shedding process becomes something that stretches the pore walls, forms a plug, and eventually leads to either a blackhead or a whitehead. And while genetics do play a part, some people naturally produce more oil or shed skin cells less efficiently. Everyone can learn how to manage the environment inside their pores more effectively. It also helps to understand just how early this process begins. Many people develop their patterns of congestion as teenagers when hormones surge and the glands ramp up production. Those habits follow them into adulthood. Some people get used to over-cleansing, scrubbing aggressively, picking at their skin, or using harsh products because they think stronger means better. Others go the opposite direction and avoid exfoliating altogether because they're afraid of irritation. Acne and blackheads thrive in both extremes. Too much or too little of anything disrupts the balance that your pores rely on. One of the most overlooked contributors is simple buildup from daily life. Sweat, pollution, leftover makeup, sunscreen, even the oils from your pillowcase and phone screen, they all add layers of debris to the skin. When that buildup isn't removed properly, the pores work overtime trying to push through it. That's when congestion settles deeper, becoming those stubborn plugs that feel like they've been living in your skin forever. So much of acne management is really about recognizing how these little daily factors stack up. Once you understand that, deep cleansing becomes less about intensity and more about consistency. There is also the role of bacteria, not the kind that makes you sick, but the bacteria naturally present on your skin. When a pore becomes clogged, it creates a tiny, airless environment that bacteria love. They multiply, inflammation starts, and suddenly what began as a simple plug becomes a red, tender pimple. That's why it's important to avoid squeezing pores when you don't know what you're pressing on. If the blockage isn't ready to move, you push bacteria and debris deeper, turning a small problem into a bigger one. Understanding the biology behind this helps you approach your skin with more patience and less force. Once you really grasp what causes acne and blackheads, deep cleansing stops feeling like a mysterious process. It becomes a routine, grounded in clarity, softening the skin, clearing debris gradually, giving pores the chance to function naturally. You start to see that great skin isn't about attacking the problem, it's about supporting the skin so it can do its job. When you know what's happening at the root, every step afterward becomes smarter, safer, and more effective. And that's the real beginning of clear, healthy skin. Understanding the cause before choosing the solution. Before any deep cleansing actually works, the skin has to be properly prepared, and that's the part most people rush through or skip altogether. It's like trying to mop a floor without loosening the dirt first. The surface might look a little cleaner, but the stubborn buildup is still there. Skin is the same way. If it's tight, dry, or not fully softened, the debris inside your pores holds on for dear life and you end up pushing harder than you need to. That's when irritation, redness, and inflammation come in. So preparation isn't an optional step. It's the foundation that makes the rest of your cleansing routine safer, more comfortable, and far more effective. Most people underestimate just how much difference a well-prepped canvas makes. When the skin is warmed slightly, just enough to relax the pores, everything inside becomes more pliable. You don't need boiling water or an intense steam session. Just a warm towel or a few minutes in a steamy bathroom is enough to ease that surface tension. That warmth helps soften the sebum inside the pores, and once that happens, you're already halfway toward clearer skin. Even the gentlest cleanser works better when the skin is primed this way. It's not about force, it's about giving your pores the environment they need to release buildup naturally. Another part of preparation that people often overlook is hydration. When the skin is dehydrated, the outer layer becomes stiff and compact, making it harder for anything underneath to move. A well-hydrated surface, on the other hand, is flexible and receptive. It allows your cleanser to glide without friction, and it makes exfoliating agents less harsh because they're not scraping against a dry, brittle barrier. A hydrating cleanser or a light water-based pre-cleansing step can make a world of difference. It's the equivalent of softening clay before trying to shape it. It just responds better. Something I always try to emphasize is that preparation is not about scrubbing. You don't need grit or harsh textures to prepare the skin. In fact, overly abrasive tools or aggressive rubbing actually tightens the pores temporarily because the skin goes into protective mode. So instead of opening things up, the scrubbing locks everything in. The goal isn't to attack the skin, the goal is to coax it. Gentle, consistent motion is far more effective than any amount of force. And the more you respect that principle, the fewer flare-ups you'll experience. Cleansing products also play a big role in preparation. A cleanser with the right pH helps maintain the skin's barrier so that deep cleansing doesn't feel like a shock. When the barrier is stable, the pores behave better. Ingredients like salicylic acid, when used at the right concentration, begin loosening debris from inside the pores even before the extraction or exfoliation step. You're essentially prepping from both the outside and the inside. The cleanser doesn't need to sting or tingle to work. Those sensations are often signs of irritation, not effectiveness. A properly formulated cleanser should leave the skin feeling clean, fresh, and still comfortable. Another overlooked part of preparation is simply giving your products enough time to do their job. Most people wash their face for 10 or 15 seconds and rinse. But a cleanser needs contact time. Think of it like soaking a dish before scrubbing. It lets the ingredients break down oils and debris so that when you rinse, you're actually removing something. When you slow down, even just slightly, everything works better with less effort. And that's the theme you'll see repeated in any good skincare routine. Slow, gentle, consistent steps win every time. Even the way you dry your skin matters. Dragging a towel across the face is one of those little habits that creates unnecessary friction. A soft pat or light press keeps the skin calm and leaves behind enough moisture to prevent dehydration. That leftover dampness actually boosts the absorption of the next product, making your overall routine more effective. Small details add up quickly when your goal is long-term clarity and healthier pores. What all of this really comes down to is treating skin preparation as an intentional ritual rather than a quick step. When you approach cleansing with the mindset of preparing the skin instead of rushing through it, everything that comes afterward becomes easier. Exfoliation works better. Extractions are smoother. Treatments absorb more deeply. And most importantly, the skin stays calm and resilient, which is exactly what you need if you want to keep breakouts from forming in the first place. Preparing the skin isn't just about clearing what's already there, it's about setting the stage so future congestion has a harder time settling in. The right preparation doesn't just make deep cleansing easier, it makes clear skin last. Once the skin is properly prepared, the next step is learning how to cleanse in a way that actually prevents congestion instead of accidentally creating more of it. Most people think cleansing is the easy part. You splash on some water, rub in a cleanser, rinse, and move on. But daily cleansing is one of the biggest opportunities we have to stop blackheads and acne before they form, and it's often the step people get wrong without even realizing it. The goal isn't just to wash the surface, the goal is to clean the skin in a way that respects the barrier, clears away buildup, and keeps the pores functioning the way they're supposed to. When you think of cleansing as maintenance rather than damage control, the whole routine becomes more effective. Cleansing starts with choosing the right product. A lot of people reach for something that feels strong, thinking that a tight, squeaky clean feeling is a sign of effectiveness. But when your skin feels tight after washing, what you're experiencing isn't cleanliness, it's barrier disruption. And when the barrier gets disrupted, your oil glands get the message that they need to compensate. They start producing more oil, and that's exactly the environment clogged pores thrive in. A good cleanser should leave your skin feeling clean and refreshed, but still soft and comfortable. You should be able to move your face without feeling like your skin is going to crack. That balance is what keeps the pores from slipping into overload mode. The technique you use matters just as much as the cleanser itself. Cleansing isn't about scrubbing. It's about movement and timing. Gentle circular motions using only the fingertips help lift debris without irritating the skin. People often rush this step, but taking a full 30 to 45 seconds to work the cleanser in makes a huge difference. It gives the product time to break down the oils, sunscreen residue, and pollutants from the day. When you slow down just a little bit, the skin responds better. It's amazing how many issues clear up simply by cleansing with intention instead of speed. Another common mistake is skipping the second cleanse when you've worn sunscreen or makeup. Sunscreen is essential, but it's designed to cling to the skin, and a quick wash often doesn't fully remove it. If it's not removed, it mixes with oils and settles into the pores, setting the stage for congestion. A gentle first cleanse to remove sunscreen or makeup, followed by a second cleanse to truly clean the skin, creates a clear foundation. This doesn't mean you need harsh products, just the right sequence. When the buildup from the day is completely removed, your pores don't have to fight through layers of residue, and your skin stays clearer over time. Water temperature also plays a role. Hot water might feel relaxing, but it can irritate the skin and strip its natural moisture. Cold water doesn't break down oils effectively. Lukewarm water sits right in the middle. It dissolves debris without stressing the skin. Just that simple shift in temperature protects the barrier, makes the cleansing process smoother. What you do after rinsing matters too. Some people towel dry their face with so much pressure that they undo the gentle cleansing they just completed. Patting instead of rubbing minimizes friction and keeps the skin in a calm state. Calm skin is skin that doesn't overreact, doesn't overproduce oil, and doesn't flare up easily. And when the skin stays calm, the pores stay balanced. Consistency is the real secret here. Deep cleansing once a week won't make up for poor daily habits. Your pores don't get clogged in a single moment. They fill gradually throughout the day. Sweat, pollution, sunscreen, oil production, even touching your face without realizing it all add up. When you cleanse properly every day, you break that cycle before it takes shape. You're preventing buildup instead of reacting to it. That's how clear skin is maintained. By showing up for it daily with gentle, correct habits, not by relying on dramatic treatments after the fact. Even the timing of your cleansing matters. Washing your face first thing in the morning removes the oils and sweat that accumulated overnight, setting the stage for better product absorption throughout the day. Cleansing at night is non-negotiable. The skin does its repair work while you sleep, and it can't do that if the surface is coated with fats, grime, and residue. Think of cleansing as clearing the path so the skin can breathe. When people get their cleansing routine right, everything else they do, exfoliation, extractions, masks, treatments, suddenly starts working the way it's supposed to. That's because the skin isn't fighting against congestion, it's working with you. And once you feel the difference that proper daily cleansing makes, you never want to go back. Clear skin begins with the small choices you make every day, and cleansing is the choice that sets the tone for everything that follows. When it comes to blackhead extraction, this is the part of the routine where people often get a little too excited and a little too aggressive, and that's exactly where trouble begins. Extraction can be incredibly satisfying, but it's also one of the easiest steps to mess up if it's rushed or done without understanding what the skin is ready for. The goal is never to force something out of the pores. The goal is to gently guide out what the skin has already loosened through proper preparation and cleansing. If the skin isn't softened, if the buildup hasn't been addressed, or if the pore simply isn't ready, squeezing won't fix the problem. It will just push everything deeper and invite inflammation. So extraction starts long before your fingers ever touch your skin. It starts with knowing what you're looking at and whether it's safe to approach. Not every blackhead is meant to be extracted at home, and learning that difference can save your skin a lot of unnecessary trauma. A safe blackhead is one that sits closer to the surface, looks dark or slightly raised, and feels firm but not painful. When it's ready, it often has a little bit of give when you apply gentle pressure. Deep, inflamed, or painful bumps are not blackheads you should touch. Those are pores that are still closed at the top or filled with inflammation. Pressuring them will only drive bacteria deeper and turn a small problem into a stubborn one. Just because something is visible doesn't mean it's ready to move. Timing is everything, and being patient with the skin always pays off. Once you know the area is ready, your hands matter just as much as your technique. Clean hands are non-negotiable. A little cleanser, a warm rinse, and if possible, a thin pair of clean extraction gloves help you maintain control without slipping or dragging. The pressure you apply should always be light and gradual. Think of it as coaxing, not forcing. You're nudging the sides of the pore gently toward the center, not pressing straight down. Pressing down traps debris, guiding inward encourages the pore to release, and if nothing comes out after 2 or 3 light attempts, that's your sign to stop. The pore isn't ready, and pushing harder won't change that. Tools like comedone extractors can be helpful, but they need to be handled with care. The biggest mistake is using too much force or the wrong angle. The loop is designed to glide over the skin, not dig into it. If you're scraping, dragging, or leaving marks behind, the pressure is too strong. Tools are meant to assist, not replace technique. Even professionals rely on preparation and gentle movement far more than they rely on the tool itself. A well-prepared pore practically releases on its own when the skin is softened properly. After extraction, the skin is in a vulnerable state. The pore is temporarily open, and the last thing you want is bacteria settling in. A gentle cleanse after extraction helps clear away any residue, but the real magic happens with calming products. A light, soothing toner, a cool compress, or a product with ingredients like niacinamide helps reduce redness and encourages the pore to tighten again without irritation. This step is essential if you want your extraction results to last. Skipping it often leads to reclogging, which makes the whole process feel pointless. The calmer the skin is afterward, the smoother and healthier it will look in the days that follow. Another important part of safe extraction is understanding that you don't have to remove every clogged pore in one session. Skin responds best when extractions are done gradually with time in between for healing. Trying to clear everything all at once leads to swelling, sensitivity, and uneven texture. Taking your time creates better long-term results and helps the pores remain clean instead of inflamed. And of course, knowing when to seek professional help is part of taking care of your skin responsibly. Deep congestion, recurring blackheads, cystic bumps, and large areas of stubborn buildup are best handled by someone trained to extract safely. There's no shame in seeking help. Your skin appreciates it. A professional extraction can set you up for success, and from there, your daily routine becomes much easier and much more effective. What it all comes down to is respect for the skin. Extraction should never be a battle. It should be a gentle collaboration between properly prepared skin and careful technique. When you approach it with patience instead of pressure, you protect your pores, preserve your barrier, and prevent scars or long-term damage. Safe extraction isn't just about what you remove. It's about how well you care for your skin in the process. And when you do it right, the results speak for themselves with clarity that lasts. Once the pores have been properly cleansed and treated with safe extraction, the next layer of maintaining clear skin comes from using exfoliation, masks, and targeted treatments in a way that supports the skin rather than overwhelms it. These steps often get misunderstood because people think of them as power tools. The stronger the acid, the more often you mask, the faster your skin should clear. But the truth is, these products work best when they're used thoughtfully and rhythmically. They're not meant to be the heroes that rescue your skin from chaos. They're meant to be the quiet partners that keep everything running smoothly beneath the surface. Exfoliation is the first of these partners, and it's essential for preventing buildup before it becomes a problem. Your skin sheds dead cells every day, but sometimes it needs a little help letting go. That's where chemical exfoliants shine. Ingredients like salicylic acid can travel deeper into the pores, breaking down oil and debris from the inside. It's one of the few ingredients small enough to get through that pore lining and dissolve the material that leads to blackheads. But the key is not to overdo it. The skin doesn't need to peel or sting or burn to exfoliate properly. In fact, if you feel intense tingling or see redness afterward, that's your skin asking for a break. Gentle, consistent exfoliation works far better than anything aggressive. Think of it as nudging the pores open just enough so they don't feel the pressure to swell or clog. Then there are masks, and these can be incredibly helpful when used wisely. Clay masks, for example, are fantastic at absorbing excess oil from the surface and pulling impurities outward. But they're not supposed to be worn until they crack and leave your skin feeling like paper. A mask that dries completely is a mask that has overstayed its welcome. The best results come when you rinse it off while it's still slightly damp, right at the point where it has done its job without stripping the skin. Hydrating masks also play a role, especially for people whose pores tighten or trap debris when their skin is dehydrated. Keeping the skin flexible and well moisturized doesn't clog the pores. It actually allows treatments to work better and makes blackheads less stubborn over time. Targeted treatments are the final piece of this supportive trio, and they're often where people see the most visible improvements when used consistently. Retinoids, for example, are one of the most effective long-term solutions for preventing clogged pores because they help regulate how the skin sheds. They encourage fresh, smooth turnover and keep those dead cells from piling up inside the pores. But like anything powerful, they work best when introduced slowly. Starting with only a small amount and giving your skin time to adjust prevents irritation and makes the treatment more sustainable. Spot treatments with ingredients like benzoyl peroxide can help with active breakouts by reducing bacteria and calming inflammation, but they're not meant for large areas of the face unless recommended. Their strength lies in precision, not coverage. What ties exfoliants, masks, and treatments together is timing and balance. You don't need to use all of them at once, and you definitely don't need to use them every single day. 1 or 2 exfoliating sessions a week, a mask when your skin feels congested or oily, and targeted treatments used at the right frequency can completely transform the way your pores behave. When your skin gets the right amount of support instead of a flood of actives, it becomes more predictable, less reactive, and far more cooperative. You start noticing that blackheads release more easily, inflammation settles faster, and your complexion stays clearer for longer periods without feeling stripped. After all the cleansing, preparation, and careful extraction, these treatments act like maintenance workers behind the scenes, sweeping away the debris before it can accumulate and keeping the pores balanced from the inside out. They're not shortcuts, nothing in skincare truly is, but they are powerful allies when used with intention and respect for your skin's natural rhythm. And once you understand how each one helps your pores stay clear and healthy, you realize that real progress comes from consistency, not force. Steady care creates the skin that lasts. When we start talking about long-term skin confidence, this is where everything you've learned so far finally comes together. It's not just about clearing what you see today, it's about building habits that protect your skin so it behaves better tomorrow. And honestly, most people underestimate how much consistency plays into that. They want quick fixes, overnight miracles, and pore strips that magically erase years of congestion. But skin isn't built that way. It responds to patterns, not impulses. When you treat it with steadiness instead of panic, it rewards you quietly, gradually, and reliably. One of the biggest breakthroughs for many people is realizing that prevention isn't boring, it's powerful. Think of everything your skin deals with on a daily basis. Pollution settling onto the surface, sunscreen mixing with sweat, makeup melting into pores, stress hormones throwing things off balance. If you only react when something shows up, you'll always be in catch-up mode. But if you get ahead of your skin, you'll feel like you're finally steering the wheel instead of hanging on for dear life. Even something as simple as washing your face every night, no matter how tired you are, becomes an act of long-term protection. Your pores don't get the chance to hold on to the day's debris, and the breakouts you used to get for no reason suddenly start happening less often. Another piece of long-term success is learning to listen to what your skin is actually telling you. Skin is honest, sometimes brutally honest, but it's never random. If you're breaking out in the same areas repeatedly, that's your skin whispering a pattern. If you're feeling roughness or bumps along the jawline, that's your skin warning you that oil, friction, or buildup is getting ahead of you. When you ignore those early signs, they grow louder. But when you respond early with gentle exfoliation, better cleansing habits, or just removing a product that isn't working, you teach your skin that you're paying attention. And that relationship matters more than any single product you buy. There's also a shift that happens when you stop trying to punish your skin into behaving and start trying to support it instead. I see so many people scrubbing harder, squeezing aggressively, drying their skin out with strong treatments because they think harshness equals effectiveness. But the reality is the skin barrier is your best friend in the fight against acne. If you irritate it, you inflame it. And if you inflame it, you break out more. Long-term results come from healing the barrier, not battling it, hydrating it, protecting it, letting it breathe. Once you embrace that softer approach, suddenly your skin isn't fighting you anymore. It's working with you. And let's talk about patience, because this is the part nobody loves but everybody needs. Skin transforms slowly, even under the best conditions. You may not see big results in the first week, but that doesn't mean nothing is happening. Think of it like training a muscle. You don't see definition after one workout, but your body is already adapting. Skin is the same. When you stay consistent with your routine, cleansing, exfoliating, moisturizing, treating, your skin is gradually resetting itself. Pores become less clogged because they aren't constantly refilled. Inflammation goes down because the skin barrier is finally strong. Oil production stabilizes, texture evens out. These aren't dramatic overnight changes. They're quiet shifts that build on each other until suddenly you realize one morning that your skin just looks calmer, and that calm is earned. One more thing that people forget is that long-term skin clarity requires flexibility. Your skin doesn't stay the same year-round. Your routine shouldn't either. When weather changes, humidity rises or drops, stress fluctuates, or hormones shift, your skin's needs do too. You may need a lighter moisturizer in the summer, a gentler exfoliant in winter, or a stronger active during a breakout-prone month. The people who see the best results aren't the ones who use the same products forever. They're the ones who adjust thoughtfully, slowly, and with intention. And through all of this, the goal isn't perfection. It's progress, healthier habits, fewer flare-ups, more confidence without feeling like you have to cover everything up. When you care for your skin with intention and patience, it shows not just in how it looks, but in how you feel when you look at yourself. Because in the end, clear skin isn't created in a moment. It's created in the choices you make every single day.